I never thought a day that was supposed to mark the beginning of my forever would become the day everything unraveled. It started innocently enough. The sun was out. My tux fit better than I expected. Friends and family were trickling into the little church on Pine Avenue, the one Emma had chosen. She said it reminded her of her grandmother's, the one she used to attend as a child. I remember how her eyes lit up when we visited it the first time. Back then, I would have done anything to see her smile like that. I was in the groom's room fiddling with my cufflinks. My best man Marcus was pacing. He always got nervous at weddings, even ones he wasn't starring in. The guy couldn't sit still. "You good, man?" he asked, glancing over. "Yeah," I said, though I wasn't entirely sure. I'd been having a strange feeling all morning, like something was hanging in the air, unspoken. A pressure I couldn't name. I chalked it up to nerves. Everyone gets cold feet, right? Then the knock came. 3 soft knocks, not urgent, but definite. I looked up. Marcus opened the door and frowned. "It's Claire," he said, "and Emma's friend." I hadn't spoken much to Claire outside of group dinners and wedding planning sessions, but she always seemed decent, quiet, sharp-eyed, observant. She stepped in, holding her phone tightly. Her hands were trembling. "Hey," she said, voice low. "I'm sorry to do this. Really, I am, but I can't let you go through with it. Not without knowing." My stomach dropped. I didn't say anything at first, just stared at her. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her lipstick was faded and her eyes were red, like she'd been crying for hours. "What are you talking about?" I finally asked. Claire hesitated, glanced at Marcus, then back at me. "I found something." I didn't want to believe it at first, but I couldn't keep quiet. "Emma, she hasn't been honest with you?" She handed me her phone. I didn't want to take it, but my hand moved on its own. I stared at the screen, a video. I tapped play. It was shaky, taken from a distance, but clear enough. Emma and a man I didn't recognize. It wasn't just a hug, it wasn't a friendly goodbye. It was intimate, familiar. She kissed him like she'd kissed me 100 times before. She looked happy, relaxed, like it was normal. My jaw tightened. "Where did you get this?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Claire looked down. "I followed her last week." I had a bad feeling. She told me she was going to a florist in the city, but I knew she'd already finalized everything. I didn't mean to spy. I needed to know. Marcus cursed under his breath. I couldn't move, couldn't think. My ears started to ring. "This could be," I started. Claire interrupted gently. "It's not the first time. I have messages." I didn't want to believe it either, but she's been seeing him for months. His name is Jared. He works with her. I felt like someone had punched me in the chest hard. All those late nights, all those last-minute meetings, the sudden change in her phone habits, the way she stopped saying, "I love you," when she thought I wasn't paying attention. It all clicked. Marcus sat down on the couch, stunned. I looked at Claire again. "Why are you telling me this now?" She took a breath. "Because I couldn't live with myself if I stayed silent. Emma's my friend, but this isn't right. You deserve to know. Before you make vows, she doesn't respect." I nodded slowly, then handed the phone back. "Thank you." She left without another word. The door clicked softly. Lie behind her. Marcus stood. "What are you going to do?" I didn't answer immediately. I stared at myself in the mirror. Tuxedo, veneer, every detail perfect except the one thing that mattered. "I need to talk to her," I said finally. "Before we go through with this, I need to hear it from her mouth." The walk to the bridal room felt like a funeral march. The door was guarded by her sister, Rachel. Same icy smile she always wore when dealing with me. "She's getting ready," she said, trying to block my way. "I need 5 minutes," I said, "alone." "She's nervous. I'm not asking." She glared at me, but I pushed past her. Emma was adjusting her veil when I walked in. Her eyes lit up for a split second. Then she saw my face. "What's wrong?" she asked. I closed the door behind me. "We need to talk." She blinked, feigning confusion. "Can it wait?" "It's bad luck to don't," I said sharply. "Don't play games with me." Her face fell. I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. I didn't show her the video, just the photo of her and Jared in that restaurant. The way she touched his arm, the kiss. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I waited. She finally spoke. I didn't mean for it to happen. My heart sank. So it's true. Tears welled in her eyes. It was a mistake. I swear it's over. It's been over. I didn't know how to tell you. Everything was moving so fast, and I snapped. Don't insult me with that. If Claire hadn't shown me this, would you have told me, or were you planning to marry me and keep lying? She didn't answer. I laughed bitterly. Unbelievable. I love you, she said desperately. I really do. He was just a distraction. I was scared. The wedding, the pressure, it all felt like too much. You don't cheat because you're scared, I said coldly. You cheat because you don't respect the person you're with. She stepped toward me. I stepped back. I was all in, Emma. I was ready to build a life with you, to start a family, and you what? Got bored? It wasn't like that then. What was it? Silence. I shook my head. I can't do this. I won't. You're really going to call it off now? She said, panic rising in front of everyone. You made that choice the moment you betrayed me. Rachel burst in, face red. What's going on in here? Ask your sister, I said. She's got quite the story. Don't be dramatic. Rachel sneered. So, she made a mistake. People make mistakes. You don't just throw away a wedding over one slip. One slip, I repeated. It wasn't one. And it wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Over and over. Emma's mother walked in next, clearly summoned by the commotion. What's happening? People are waiting. I turned to her. There won't be a wedding. She looked at Emma, then at me. You're making a scene. No, I said, I'm making a decision. I turned back to Emma. Her makeup was smudged now. She looked more real than I'd ever seen her. I loved you, I said. That was never fake. But this was never real to you. I walked out, past the bridal party, past the shocked relatives, past the decorated altar. I didn't look back. Outside, the air hit me like a wave. Cool, honest, unforgiving. Marcus caught up with me. You okay? No, I said, but I will be. He nodded and we kept walking. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, I felt like I was walking towards something real. The ride home from the church felt like it lasted hours, though it couldn't have been more than 20 minutes. I didn't speak. Marcus drove in silence, only glancing at me occasionally like he wanted to say something, but knew better than to try. I stared out the window, watching the world pass by. I couldn't stop replaying Emma's face when I confronted her. The guilt, the fear, but no real remorse. Not the kind that changes a person, not the kind you can trust. When we pulled up outside my apartment, Marcus killed the engine. You want me to come up? He asked quietly. I shook my head. Thanks, man, for everything, but I need some time. He hesitated. You did the right thing, right? I didn't answer right away. I opened the door and stepped out, pausing before closing it. I don't know if it was the right thing. I just know I couldn't lie to myself and go through with it. He nodded once, solemn. Call me if you need anything. Inside the apartment was exactly how I'd left it that morning. The tux jacket I draped over the back of a chair, a half-finished cup of coffee cold on the counter, the wedding invitation still pinned to the fridge mocking me. I pulled it down and tossed it in the trash. The silence in the apartment was loud, deafening. I sat on the couch and just let it hit me. Everything. The betrayal, the embarrassment, the months I spent planning a future with someone who already had one foot out the door. I don't know how long I sat there. Time became a blur. It wasn't until my phone buzzed on the coffee table that I snapped out of it. Emma, I didn't answer, but I opened the message. Please, can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. My thumb hovered over the screen. Then I set the phone face down and walked to the kitchen to pour myself a glass of water. I didn't owe her a conversation. Not after what I'd seen, not after what she admitted. The next few days were chaos. Word spread fast. My mom called, confused and worried. Emma's parents tried to reach out, asking to discuss things calmly. Her sister sent me a scathing message, accusing me of humiliating Emma and throwing away something beautiful because of a minor lapse in judgment. A minor lapse. I couldn't believe how easily some people rationalized betrayal when it came from their side. I stayed quiet, I didn't post anything. I didn't explain. I didn't owe anyone an explanation. The people who mattered knew, and that was enough. Then Claire reached out again. Hey, I hope you're okay. I know this isn't easy, but I'm here if you need anything. I read the message several times before responding. Thank you. Really, you didn't have to do what you did, but I'm glad you did, she replied instantly. You deserve to know, and I've been in your shoes before. I wish someone had done the same for me. We ended up talking that evening. Not about Emma, surprisingly. Just life, work, how we both couldn't stand the DJ Emma had insisted on hiring. It felt normal, and I needed that. The next afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I knew before I opened it. Emma stood there dressed in jeans and a hoodie, eyes swollen from crying. I know I should have called first, she said quietly. But you weren't answering. I crossed my arms. What do you want, Emma? To explain, to apologize? I don't know, just to try. I didn't say anything, just stepped aside and let her in. She walked in slowly like she wasn't sure she belonged anymore. She didn't. This place looks the same, she said softly. Because nothing here was fake, I replied. She flinched. I deserve that. I sat on the edge of the couch. She sat across from me, hands folded in her lap. It started months ago, she began. Jared and I, we worked on a project together. We got close. I didn't plan for anything to happen, but it did. And I hated myself for it. I stayed quiet. Let her keep going. I tried to stop it. I really did. But every time things got stressful with the wedding, I turned to him. I knew it was wrong. I hated lying to you. Then why did you keep doing it? I asked. She swallowed hard. Because it made me feel seen. You were so busy planning everything, being perfect, and I was, I don't know, drowning. So instead of talking to me, I said, you went behind my back. I didn't want to hurt you. I laughed bitterly. Well, that worked out. She looked down, wiping a tear from her cheek. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I mean it. I nodded. I believe you're sorry, but not for what you did. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry you lost the safety net, the wedding, the image. That's not fair. No, I interrupted. What's not fair is building a life with someone while secretly planning an exit strategy. She looked like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. She just sat there staring at the floor. I came here because I hoped. She started and stopped. Hoped what? That maybe we could still fix it. I stood up. Emma, you didn't break a dish. You broke trust. The kind you don't just glue back together with apologies and excuses. She stood too, reaching out. I stepped back. I'm done. I said, you made your choices. Now I'm making mine. Her eyes filled with tears. So that's it? I nodded. That's it. She didn't fight it this time. She just turned and walked to the door. Before she left, she looked back. I really did love you. I nodded once. You just didn't love me enough. And then she was gone. The days that followed were oddly calm. No more calls, no more texts, just space and silence. I started going for long walks. Marcus and I grabbed dinner. Claire and I kept in touch, sometimes talking late into the night. One evening, as I walked by the park near my place, I saw a couple sitting on a bench, laughing, sharing fries, completely absorbed in each other. I smiled, not because I missed that, but because I knew I'd have it again one day with someone honest, someone who chose me without hesitation or secrets. I had loved Emma, but loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. It doesn't mean staying when the foundation is cracked beyond repair. She taught me that. And maybe in some twisted way, that was the gift in the heartbreak. I didn't need closure. I needed clarity, and I finally had it. The quiet that followed was different, from the silence of shock or grief. It was the kind of quiet that lets you breathe again, the kind that arrives after the chaos fades, and you're left alone with nothing but the truth. I didn't miss the wedding. I thought I would. I thought I'd feel a gaping hole where a future used to be. But instead, I felt space. Space to rediscover who I was. before everything got tangled in promises and pretenses. I started running again, mornings just before sunrise when the world felt like it was starting over. There was something freeing about the rhythm of it. Step after step, mile after mile, I ran out the pain, the anger, the what ifs. One morning, a week after Emma had shown up at my apartment, I came home to find an envelope tucked under my door. No name, no return address. Inside was a letter, handwritten from her father. I don't expect you to forgive Emma, and I certainly don't expect you to change your mind. But I want you to know that not everyone in our family supported what she did or how she handled it. I know what it took for you to walk away. That takes courage. Most men would have gone through with it and lived bitterly. You chose your dignity. I hope someday that choice brings you peace. I read the letter twice, then folded it and placed it in the drawer next to my bed. I didn't know what to do with it, but for some reason, I couldn't throw it away. Maybe because it was the only acknowledgement from her side that didn't come loaded with blame or self-justification. Later that day, Claire called. Her voice had become a kind of anchor for me, steady, unassuming, and honest. Some of the girls are meeting up tonight, she said, and a few friends of mine. Nothing wild, just food and talk. You should come. I don't know, I started. It's not a pity invite, she said quickly. Just thought you might want a night that doesn't revolve around unpacking betrayal. That made me laugh. All right, I'll come. It was a small group, 5 or 6 people gathered around a backyard fire pit. The warmth of it, the simple comfort of strangers treating me like a person instead of a headline, was exactly what I needed. No one brought up the wedding. No one asked invasive questions. They just let me be. Claire sat beside me most of the evening. Her presence was easy. We didn't flirt. We didn't dance around anything. We just talked about books, random travel stories, the way she hated pumpkin spice, but loved pumpkin pie. I listened more than I spoke, and for once that felt okay. At one point, someone passed around a guitar, and a guy named Will started strumming a soft tune. Claire leaned over and whispered, "He does this at every gathering. He knows 3 songs, and one of them is Wonderwall." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I hadn't laughed like that in a while. Really laughed. When the night wound down and people started heading out, Claire stayed behind to help clean up. I offered to walk her to her car. Under the streetlight, she turned to me. "You look lighter," she said. "I feel lighter." She nodded. "You made the right choice, you know. I'm starting to believe that." She smiled. "Don't let one person's failure make you afraid of trusting again." "I won't," I said. "But I'll take my time." "Good," she said. "Take all the time you need." I watched her drive off and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Not for a new relationship, not yet, but for the idea that healing was possible, that life wasn't over because one chapter had ended in betrayal. Over the next few weeks, I focused on rebuilding the parts of my life that I had put on pause for Emma. I reached out to old friends, reconnected with family I hadn't seen in months. My mom came to visit one weekend and brought homemade lasagna, acting like feeding me was her personal way of healing the situation. "You're smiling again," she said over dinner, trying to. "I know it hurts," she added, placing her hand on mine. "But it's better now than later. A broken engagement is painful, but a broken marriage that leaves deeper scars." She was right. Deep down, I knew she was right. And every day, I woke up feeling a little more like myself again. One afternoon, I saw Jared at a coffee shop. It was awkward. He spotted me before I could leave. He approached cup in hand, trying to look casual. "I didn't think I'd see you here," he said. "I live nearby," I replied flatly. He shifted uncomfortably. "Listen, man, I didn't handle things right. None of it was okay." I didn't say anything. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," he added, "but you did." He nodded, looking genuinely uncomfortable. "I know, and I'm not going to make excuses. Just, I'm sorry." I didn't forgive him, but I nodded once and walked past him. That was enough for me. I didn't need to yell or make a scene. I didn't need revenge or satisfaction. I had what I needed, the ability to walk away without bitterness consuming me. A few weeks later, I got an invitation in the mail. It was for the rescheduled wedding of a college friend. I hesitated before opening it. The idea of attending a wedding after everything felt ironic, but I decided to go. It wasn't about the ceremony, it was about proving to myself that I could be around love without feeling broken. At the reception, people danced, laughed, shared stories, and I watched it all with a quiet kind of gratitude. Not jealousy, not regret, just appreciation for the beauty of honesty and connection. I didn't stay long. As I stepped outside to leave, I looked up at the sky. Clear, open. A breeze rustled through the trees. I took a deep breath and felt something inside me settle. That night, I went home and sat by the window. No music, no distractions, just me in the quiet again. But this time it wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. Emma never reached out again. Not after our last conversation, and that was okay. Some doors close and don't need to be reopened. As for Claire, we remained friends. We still talked, still grabbed coffee sometimes. Whether it became more or stayed as it was didn't matter. What mattered was that it came from a place of truth. I learned something in all of this. About love, yes, but also about myself. You can lose someone you thought was everything and still be whole. You can watch your future collapse and still build a new one. You can be broken, betrayed, humiliated, and still stand up, dust yourself off, and walk away with your head high. And when you do that, when you choose your self-worth over someone else's lives, that's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your freedom. And I was finally